Hey everybody, so it's Pride Month once again, which means I get to recommend to you some of my favorite queer reads of the year and some of the books that I am still hoping to get to before the end of the month. I cannot wait for your TBR to explode, so let's get on this Pride reading recommendations video. Let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course I hope you're reading an amazing book or two or three or four. The weather has turned here. It is finally summer-ish. It is, I think, supposed to be in the mid-80s today. It's warm and beautiful and sunny, so I cannot complain. Work has been, as you all know from my prior videos, I'm in the current transition. I actually start the new job on Monday, so it's been a lot. So I apologize that I have not had many videos or pictures or anything up. Work has been taking a lot of my time, which is fine, as it should sometimes. But it is a time of year where I love to celebrate some of the amazing, amazing queer authors that I have read this year or still want to read before the year is over. So, as always, get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, get out however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, please order these books from your local independent bookstore. Or if you're a library user, get your library to get you a copy as soon as possible. So the first book I'm going to talk about very briefly, because I will link Ryan from Read by Ryan in my review of this video down below. If you want a full deep dive into how much we love this book, check out that video. But the first book I want to recommend to you is The Late Americans by Brandon Taylor. It is out from Riverhead Books. Ryan and I had the honor of seeing Brandon Taylor in person this weekend at the City Arts and Lecture Series in San Francisco. It was amazing. This book takes place in Iowa City and really follows a group of college students, mostly them in graduate school, and sort of everything that's going on in their lives. They're all sort of artists in some way. We have poets, we have dancers, we have people who are formerly dancers, and it's about their relationships with each other, with sort of the socioeconomic issues of being in college and where does the money come from, and also the socioeconomic issues of relationships and all of that kind of stuff. It deals with how this group interacts with the community itself. There's like so much to unload. I loved it. The writing is absolutely fabulous. The characters leap off the page. Highly recommend. Check out Ryan and I's video down below if you want more detail. But please read The Late Americans by Brandon Taylor, out now from Riverhead Books. So we did that on Friday night, and then the next morning we got up extra early and drove to Rakeshaw Books in Danville, California, which, if you are in the Bay Area, highly recommend checking out Rakeshaw. They are fantastic. They are great recommendations. And we got to see the amazing Stephen Rowley talk about his new book, The Celebrants. Now, The Celebrants is the story of 5 college friends who at the beginning of the book have come together, actually right up the road from me, to sort of celebrate the life of one of their friends who committed suicide. And while they are together, they recognize that they wish they had told him everything that they loved about him. And maybe if they had, maybe he would have made different choices. So what they do is they create a pact where at any time, for whatever reason, you can call for your friends to get together to do your funeral so you can hear how much they love and celebrate you and maybe get you through a difficult time. And in this, there is divorce, there are relationships, there's financial troubles, there's loss of parents, all different reasons to call forward this pact. And it's about those relationships and the friendships and all of that. I will tell you, at the end of this book, I bawled my eyes out. But Stephen Rowley tends to do that to me. You can see him in person as he travels to for his book tour, please do so. He is charming and just lovely. Him and Brandon. It was a great bookish weekend, to be honest with you. I think his book is a book by Jenna, and he's going to be on whatever her show is. I'm sorry, I don't do daytime TV very much, but in June. So you should be able to see him there if you want to see him talk about it. So that's The Celebrants by Stephen Rowley. This is out from Putnam, and it is a tearjerker, and it is lovely, and it is about friendship and loss and everything. The next two books for me were actually gifts for my birthday from Ryan of Read by Ryan, and they are just lovely as well. The first one, he actually does a fantastic review on his Instagram of both of these books, so if I cannot sell you on them, please go check out Read by Ryan's Instagram, and he is just amazing at it. So the first one is Best Men. This is by Sidney Karger, and this is out from Berkley. This is the story of Max. Max. So basically Max works in HR in this company. He's sort of going through life. He's just ended a relationship. He's a little bit lost when his best friend has announced that she is going to get married, and he asks him to be the best, his best friend of honor is what I'm going to call it. And when he gets there, he knows the groom, but the groom's brother, who is also gay, is going to be his best man, and they have to sort of create this relationship to put together this wedding, and it's sort of the ups and downs of all of that, and also the charming love story or romance between the two of them, and all of that kind of stuff. It is absolutely cinematic. It is a fantastic beach read. Read it by the pool. You will be charmed by it. You'll get frustrated with Max, but in the end, you will just feel good and happy, and it is absolutely lovely. So thank you, Ryan. Check out Ryan's review of it as well. Best Men by Sidney Karger, and this is out from Berkley. Okay, then I actually just finished this book this morning, and that is Small Joys by Elvin James Mensah, and this is out from Ballentine Books, and this is a debut novel about a Black British man who has dropped out of university after a severe bout with depression, returns sort of to his hometown, moves in with his friends, and sort of is what's going to happen now. And he creates a relationship with Muddy, and Muddy is his new roommate who sort of just shows him the importance of friendships and the relationships that can sort of get you through this. This book deals with a lot of really tough topics, but in gentle ways. We have a father who has disowned his son more or less due to the religious reasons of not supporting his gay son. We deal with our main character, Harley, who is had a relationship with an older white man who sort of fetishizes him, but the relationship is the only way he's ever felt wanted before, and it's toxic and poison. And it's about him and these friends, this group of friends, and all of this sort of stuff, and reassessing what you think about the world, and growing up and sort of maturing as a person. And the relationship between Harley and Muddy is just absolutely lovely. They become sort of dependent on one another to get through very difficult times. So, and at the heart of this book, Muddy is a birder, which my friend Ryan is a bird watcher as well. So it was really fun for me to see a book that sort of encompassed a lot of what Ryan is so passionate about. And that is Muddy shares birding with his grandfather, which I thought was absolutely charming. And there was just a lot to this book that is just really, it's heavy, but it's also just hopeful about the things that can help you get through the tough times. Trigger warning for, depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, all of that type of stuff. But in the end, it is just a charming debut novel about a young gay man figuring out what to do in his life and how to figure out to love oneself and also allow himself to be loved. Small Joys by Elvin James Mensah, and this is out from Ballentine Books. Okay, and I just started following him on Instagram and loving it. The next book I talked about back at the beginning of the year, and I know it's gotten around a little bit, but not enough people are talking about it. It is darker, and this is In Memoriam by Alice Winn, out from Knopf. This is a world... This is a World War I story of a group of boys at an all-boys private school, who are slowly but surely going off to war. And our main characters are sort of seeing, in the beginning of this, they sort of see these people go off to war. And there's this idea of the grandiose nature of war. But we find out very soon that it's not all what everybody thinks it is. We have two characters. We have Elwood and Henry Gaunt. Now, Henry is like of a German descent, so his family starts to get a lot of pressure and winds up sort of more or less forcing him to join the war early. And when he gets there, he sees the travesty that is the war. And he and Elwood have had this sort of this sexual tension at school, and they sort of talk about how they are best friends, but they both kind of love each other, but they won't tell each other. And there's a lot of queer representation in this book, actually. Elwood winds up following later, which makes Gaunt very angry, and lots of stuff happen in the war, but what happens mainly is their relationship sort of starts to flourish until the war gets in the way. Now, there is horrible things that happen to these two men, but what really survives through it all is the hope of them together. It's a book about friendship. It's a book about finding love in dark spaces. To me, it's all about those things. I'm not a World War I historian, so for me, it was enough about World War I to keep me in the moment, but I didn't pick any of that apart because the relationship between Gaunt and Elwood, and really between them and their friends from school and how war changes them, there are a lot of really good sort of supporting characters in this book as well that you'll really grow attached to. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's beautifully written. It will make you cry. But it's really about how two men can find each other in dark times and how that, regardless of what happens to them, can make something out of that. So that's In Memoriam by Alice Winn, out from Knopf. So want to say thank you for them. They sent me the ARC, which I read, and then they sent me that beautiful finished copy. So the last book that I have read is actually a graphic novel, and then I'm going to talk to you about the ones that I still want to read, and that's Chef's Kiss. This is by Jarrett Melendes, Danica Brine, Hank Jones, and Hassan Otsmane-Elhaou. And I'm sorry, Hassan, if I am saying your last name totally incorrectly. And this is out from Ani Press. And this is a charming, charming tale of a young boy who graduates college with an English degree, can't figure out what he's doing, can't get a job in what he wants to do, and winds up taking a job at a restaurant with a handsome other sous chef who becomes sort of his mentor. And it's about their relationship. It is charming, and the food is amazing, and the pictures are just great. And it's just a very fun little book. I can't wait to see what happens in volume 2. So that's Chef's Kiss by Jarrett Melendes, Danica Brine, Hank Jones, and Hassan Otsmane-Elhaou, and it is out from Omni Press. Okay, so the next stack of books are, well, one I am reading, so let me tell you about that one first. And this is The Disenchantment by Celia Bell. This is out from Pantheon Books, and as you can see my little bookmark sticking out at the top there. This takes place in 17th century Paris. We have two noble women, and they are in a hidden secret relationship. And when Marie Catherine, I think is her name, when she's at home with her husband and her children, and her husband is home, she's one woman. But when he's away, she becomes someone else. And she has sort of this freedom brought onto her by a relationship with Mademoiselle de Conti. My French is terrible, but I loved saying it that way. Anyway, and at the beginning of the book, they're supposed to meet in their weekly meeting at this one theater. Mademoiselle de Conti does not show up. And then the next day, or a couple days later, I think it's about a week later, she shows up dressed in men's clothing. And sort of the upheaval of all of that. There's like it's sort of like, how do I say this? It's like, well, one, I will say it reminds me a lot of Sarah Waters. So if you like Sarah Waters, I think you will like this book. And it's just like that sort of prim and proper upper elegance of talk, but with a lot of secrets and sides. And then I guess later on in the book, a murder occurs and it sort of changes everything. And yeah, I'm really, really liking it. It is a denser read than the other books that I've talked about so far. Very Sarah Waters is what I really mean to say. And that is The Disenchantment by Celia Bell, out from Pantheon. If you like 14th century French fiction with all those details, with a little bit of lesbian love thrown in, that's the book for you. Okay, the next 4 books are all books that I want to read. The first is Homebodies by Tembe, Denton, Hurst, and this is out from Harper Books. This is a modern contemporary book about Mickey. So Mickey works in, I think, like sort of media, writing stories for media, and she's got a devoted girlfriend. She's got this job at this company. She feels that like she's doing well and life is going well, and then she finds out that she is going to be replaced. So in response to that, sort of in the emotional response to that, she writes a very detailed letter outlining all of the racism that she's endured as a Black woman in media. And I love what it says. But when the letter is met with overwhelming silence, Mickey is sent into a tailspin of self-doubt, forced to reckon with just how fragile her life is, including the uncertainty of her relationship. She flees to the last place she dreamed she would ever return, her hometown, desperate to break from her troubles. And there's like an old flame in her old life. I think her relationship with her girlfriend is also on the rocks. And so there's all of this stuff going on for Mickey in this book. And yeah, I got the audiobook from this from Libroform, who I absolutely love and use all the time to listen to audiobooks while I read. So I will be reading this one very soon. And that is Homebodies by Tembe, Denton, Hurst, out from Harper. Okay, let's do a little gay YA. How does that sound? I just picked this one up the other day. That's Lose You to Find Me by Erik J. Brown. This is out from B&B. This is the story of 2 boys. So I started this one. Let's start for one thing. I am getting to the point where I cannot read font that big. So I started this one and I was like, oh, I can't read this one at night because my eyes are too tired. Oh, you guys, what's going on here? But this is, so we start with a young man who wants to get into culinary school. He works at like a senior retirement home in the kitchen section, and he's asked his boss to write a letter of recommendation to this very prestigious culinary school. And she says, okay, well, I'm going to give you 3 tasks. And the first task is to mentor and onboard this new server who is this other young boy. Well, we find out very soon that they knew each other years ago. And our main character has never forgotten this summer that they spent together when they were young and everything they would have done. But when this boy walks in to be trained, he doesn't act as if he remembers him at all. And oh my gosh, the drama of it all. But it's a summertime gay romance YA. It's charming and lovely, and it's gonna be everything I want. Yeah, so if you're looking for that, I recommend Lose You to Find Me by Erik J. Brown, out from B&B. Okay, two more books. This one I don't know a lot about, but Ryan and I are obsessed with the cover, so we both bought it at Rakeshaw Books yesterday. And that's Countries of Origin by Javier Fuentes. This is out from Pantheon Books. So I'm going to use the book a little bit to help us. So it says it's 2007 and 24-year-old Demetrio is a celebrated pastry chef in New York at the French restaurant Le Bourlet. This will be his 8th year as a pastier, and the chef owner, stern but paternal, feels he should move on. He's offered a position as a head pastier for a 4-season restaurant in New York. He wants nothing more than to accept, but he is an undocumented immigrant and is terrified that he will be found out. So he makes the difficult decision to return to his homeland, which he has not seen since he was a small child. On his flight to Madrid, Demetrio sits next to the handsome, playful, and sensitive Jacobo? Sorry, I want to say Jacob because that's what I see, but a student at NYU going home to his aristocratic fascist family, and there is an instant, unacknowledged electricity between them. In dimly lit bars in Madrid and on pebbled beaches by the sea, far outside the city, these two men's subtle but intense relationship unfolds. So do we need more? Do we need more? So that is Countries of Origin by Javier Fuentes, out from Pantheon. Just picked it up in the bookstore yesterday, as I did the last book we're going to talk about. And that is Byron Lane's Big Gay Wedding, out from Byron Lane is the husband of Stephen Rowley, and this is his second novel. I did not read his first novel, but this one sounds absolutely fun. So this is the story of a wedding, a big gay wedding. And it is about a guy who has decided that he's going to have a destination wedding at his mother's farm in a small Louisiana town. And he hasn't told her it's going to happen yet. It's just going to happen. So it's going to be a small wedding of like 200 people coming to this small Louisiana town, which you know is probably not that excited about a big old gay wedding happening there, and all the people that come in. I've heard that it is full of humor, and the way that it was sort of explained is that Byron and Stephen got married during the pandemic, had a very small affair by choice, and this is sort of Byron's play on what would have happened if they had had the big gay wedding that could have happened, right? So I think it's going to be totally fun. I've heard it is really fun as a summer read, and I am on board for Big Gay Wedding by Byron Lane. I may actually start this one very soon because I think it sounds really fun. And this is, again, out from Holt. So this was a big stack of books. I cannot lift it up. I'm actually quite afraid it's about to fall over. So I hope that I was helpful in expanding your Pride TBR. A little bit of here, a little bit of there. What are you planning to read for Pride Month? Any books that I should be looking on the lookout for and pick up? You should probably send them my way. As always, I am so thankful if you're a return subscriber. I could not do this without you. If you are new to my channel, I hope that you click the subscribe button and the little bell thing, because that helps me and helps my channel grow. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everybody.